This cough is something else, I tell you. Anyway, I'm sorry about the last video. I didn't get to reach 25 minutes. I got to reach 19 minutes and 2 seconds. So in the description box, I finished the rest of the video. And hopefully I can get 25 minutes on this one. I clear up my storage, hopefully. Please, I hope it doesn't cut off on me. But if it does, understand that I'm going to write in the description box the rest of the segment, because I'm not gonna let anything stop me from doing what I gotta do. But anyway, thank you. We finished with Leo and Cancer, and now we are going to go by popular demand to Pisces. I know I've been getting a lot of slack. I've been getting a lot of slack because people are saying that I've ignored Pisces completely and altogether. But you know, Pisces is God. You know, if we go with the higher evolution of Pisces, because not every Pisces is there. But you know, for the most part, they are. So we are going to talk about Pisces and Gemini. Yeah. Mutable water and mutable air. So again, we can ascribe this to Mother Nature as being the open ocean. And you know, in the open oceans, you have all kinds of breezes and air currents that go throughout all of the Earth's grid, right? And we talked about that a little bit when we talked about Gemini. But now we're going to talk about it from the perspective of Pisces. Pisces represents mutable air. So we're talking now of all of the bodies of water. We're talking about the bodies of water that converge, the rivers that deposit into lakes. And then you have rivers that also, like veins in a body, stream laterally and end up creating lakes, deposits. You know, as water gone inland and cutting through rocks and crevices and formations and crustaceans and developing aquifers and aqueducts and viaducts. And, you know, it is cardinal water shaping the topography of the land through, the Grand Canyon was carved completely from water. Water did that over thousands of years and through the different ice ages. The water is what carved the Grand Canyon. So, and that's cardinal, that's Cancer. Understand that that's the beauty that water has created. And that's the cardinality of Cancer. Here, dealing with Pisces, we're dealing with water in waiting. The open ocean, that's water in waiting. Also, when there's clouds, but it hasn't rained yet, but you know it's coming. You can feel the humidity, the dew point in the atmosphere. That's rain, you know, coming and waiting. That's Pisces. And then when you have what they call the perfect storm, you have the air convergence and vortices with certain pockets and current flows of converging bodies of water with a particular type of heat and humidity or temperature. And now you have a hurricane or a cyclone. Mutable water now converging with mutable air, Gemini. Because if the air is moist, because the temperature is just right, we can have another Katrina. So it seems like Mother Nature is letting us know that it is kind of like a dangerous combination to have water and air converge this way. So if the keynote here is the right conditions for the perfect storm. The earth is covered 70% water, but our atmosphere above ground is 100% air, dividing into different types of air, different regions of air. So it seems like we're dealing with two polarities that are infinitesimal up as far as their polarities and the differences. And yet, according to the proportionality of those differences, when they converge, they can create something. Well, it seems rather chaotic because I'm yet to see what that combination in nature produced that is actually positive. If anything, it seems that so far that the connotation is kind of a little negative, kind of a little bit destructive. But destruction does have its own purpose and does merit its own, position of importance in the grand scheme of things. Because we certainly cannot create unless we destroy first. So that's, kind of like, don't even need to be said. The question now becomes is that because in nature we know that this is destructive energy, what can be positive about it? Well, the one thing that can be positive, talking from nature's point of view, is the ferocity and the beauty inherent in that ferocity of nature. It makes you know that our earth is not just one lump clay of body with water and mud just circulating the solar system. This earth is alive. It shakes, rattles, and rolls. This earth ain't boring. Ain't nothing boring about our planet. All kinds of stuff and natural phenomenon, from the Bermuda Triangle to the Devil's Triangle to the mysteries of the Sphinx, through the different hurricanes and tornadoes. And I mean, this is no boring place. Think about that. Our planet is never boring. There's always something going on with Mother Nature. Yes, unfortunately, the casualty of these types of eruptions and disturbances that let us know that our Earth underneath our feet is alive is the fact that there's going to be casualties. And it's very humbling when you understand the implication of these types of forces. Well, so too is the force very primordial when you're dealing with Pisces and Gemini. Again, whether it's a Pisces man and a Gemini woman, or a Pisces woman and a Gemini man, what will bring these two people together, it will be almost as mysterious and unlikely as their separation when the glib and glam and honeymoon phase is over. It'll be a memorable experience, either in a way that is traumatic and negative, or in a way that is memorably delicious, in which you can just go to sleep recapitulating in your mind these delicious memories. Because it can go either way with Pisces and Gemini. And of course, the dichotomy is different if we are talking about a Gemini woman and a Cancer man. But if we are not talking about a Gemini woman, and let's say that it's a Gemini man with a Pisces woman, well, that tends to be a little bit rough. Because number one, the Cancer man, the Gemini man, is gonna definitely live a separate existence from her. He will be all she would like him to be for her, because he more than likely will adapt to her. he will connect to her sexually. The way that because the Gemini man is quite manipulative. Remember, there's 4 types. Each one of them skillful at what they do. And the Gemini man, one thing that the Gemini man, if we are to break it into its component parts, is that the Gemini man loves sex. The Gemini woman does too, but not to the degree that the Gemini man does. She could be more amoral, but develop it suddenly. While the Gemini man can be amoral and not care of developing it. Have sex with anybody, everybody, on the street, in the parks, in the place, all kinky, you know my video on Gemini man, and they're a lot of fun. The Pisces woman will love him because her sexual appetite is so insatiable that she with him will be like 2 men in one. And the Gemini man will not at all matter. He'll be more than happy to be this woman's sexual toy and instrument. And he will become just that to her, a sexual toy and instrument. And he'll be more than willing, what man wouldn't with the Pisces woman, and have hot, steamy, and powerful sexuality. No man will pass that up. In fact, some men might actually would like to settle for less. But the Gemini man is not that kind of man. He will jump right in and swim with the fishes with this woman. Love it. Sex with this woman will be magical, not just for her, but also for Mr. Gemini. The problem becomes that when the explosive sex magic, because both of them together create sex voodoo. I tell you. But the thing is that when it's over and Miss Pisces begins to go through her moods and begins to go through her different upstream and downstream of emotions, which inevitably she will go through it in 1 day, in 1 hour, in 1 minute, in 1 second, and probably exhibit 12 different behaviors in a given day, not giving any warning or not giving any rational explanation afterwards. And the Gemini man also being kind of like a dual himself, Jekyll and Hyde personality himself, there's always 2 in 1. They can be walking past each other's shadows and alter egos on impasses and not even realize what's going on. When everything is harmonious, there tends to be a powerful magnetic attraction that just whets the appetite of Miss Pisces with the Gemini man. Because the Gemini man is sexy. He is sexy. Even if he doesn't mean to be, he's sexy. And that drives the Pisces woman wild. Wild. And he, of course, can respond in a few ways. Either he can be indifferent to it all, or he knows that he's the shit that he can strut, and he can use that as a vehicle to get what he wants, or he can genuinely appreciate it and enjoy all of that attention to himself. Again, kind of like the Leo man, the problem with Gemini man becomes in the reciprocity. Because the Gemini man, unlike the Gemini woman now, the Gemini woman is a very emotional woman. You wouldn't think that she is, but she is. The issue becomes in the emotional exposition of those emotions. But with the Gemini man, the situation is a little bit more complicated, because I don't want to say worse, but it's a little bit more complicated. Because with the Gemini man, he will refuse to acknowledge the emotions of the Pisces woman, even if it could be beneficial to him, because it confers vulnerability. And in that vulnerability, he might actually let the cat out of the bag and let him his Pisces know that he don't quite have it as tight as he pretends to be. Because with Mr. Gemini, the reality of what he talks about is just that. It's language. It's thought, and of course thought is powerful, thought is important, thought is real. It certainly is for the air signs. And I agree. It certainly is for all of us as well, especially for those of us who are willing to bring those thoughts into existence, material existence. See, the Gemini person will not do that. He will not bring things into existence by the mere force of language. In his mind, it's already in existence, albeit abstract, but it's in existence. And in a sense, he's kind of right. But we don't live in an ethereal world. We are in flesh and in bodies, and there's accountability down here. And sometimes Gemini doesn't really want to grapple with that reality, that we all have to pay our way here. And despite the fact of how we choose to handle reality, really has nothing to do with the system and grand scheme of things, as it is required of all of us to follow through and follow suit and obey to the letter of the law. And Gemini is the type of person, along with Miss Pisces or Mr. Pisces, that will withdraw from that will pull away from that somehow, if they could, they will fight and buck the system. It's almost like the Bonnie and Clyde syndrome. That would be a good example to describe the Pisces woman with the Gemini man. Because the Gemini man will, again, and it depends also on the level of maturity of the couple. But the Gemini man is going to be concerned with testing the Pisces woman. He may like her in the bedroom and enjoy all of that emotionalism in the bedroom because he gets him off. And of course, she gets off just by looking at his body, But he will require a little more than that. You see, he will require a little more than that. Because again, understand that sex for Mr. Gemini and Mrs. Gemini first begins in the mind. And although Miss Pisces is quite imaginary and visual and dreamy, and really it uses her mind also as a sexual instrument, that won't be a problem in and of itself. However, the question or the conflict actually becomes and arises when the Gemini turns into that Jekyll and Hyde and then starts to pick at Miss Pisces. And one way that he will probably do that is to the intellectual faculties, since Miss Pisces really is not that concerned about or seemingly concerned with the powers of the mind. With her, seemingly seems to be the power of the emotions. And that, again, could be the greatest deception played upon Mr. Gemini. Because, again, let's not forget, you have sharks and great whites and all kinds of whales and killer whales that are fishes. And Pisces is a fish. So not all fishes come innocently as prey to be eaten by a large apex predator. That apex predator can also be Pisces, because people forget that sharks are fishes. They're not mammals. And that falls under Pisces. So, Gemini can get a taste of his own medicine if he attracts a woman that he abuses, and then suddenly, without warning, it can flip. And he becomes the prey, and he becomes the victim. Because also understand that there is a difference of philosophy here with both Gemini and Pisces. These two also fall under the category of irreconcilable differences, because both of them will operate from different value systems. Not that there's anything wrong with operating from different value systems. The problem becomes is that there isn't a meeting of the line of the minds and a point where both can come and actually create a fusion in which they can, and I've mentioned this before in my other videos, where they can come together and create a value system that they can both share, that they can both create outside of in-laws and families. We're dealing with a relationship of older people, older couples, past their prime or in their 30s. If we're dealing with a young couple, with this combination, again, it becomes the same story as any combination of 144 combinations of all the other signs, is that there is a level of maturity that's involved. If the couples are young, then there could be several issues going on. If it's too young, they're too young. If they don't know who they are as individuals themselves, and usually when you're young and you're in your 20s or below 30, you usually don't. That is the process of self-discovery, and it's the natural pubescence of human development. You have to know who you are first before you engage in trying to have a relationship with somebody else. Because and that somebody else has to know himself or herself as well, so that both of you can build and develop the third party, which is the relationship. That level of maturity, it's very rare that if you find it in your mid-20s to early 20s. You usually don't. There's still a lot of growing pains going on. It usually is a better shot of the relationship having a serious candidacy for working out if the couples are older. But if they're young and they are still discovering themselves, part of the metamorphosis and part of the experience for young people that share in this combination is to discover each other through the conflict that both of them can inflict on each other. Because through that, they learn who they are. They learn how they fight. They learn how they react to things. They learn how, the index of who they are. And that probably is just as important as actually having a harmonious relationship with this combination. Okay? Little pause. The bottom line is that when you engage in a relationship with a Pisces and a Gemini, particularly the Gemini man and the Pisces woman, then you're gonna have to understand as the Gemini man off the bat that this woman is gonna see right through you. She's going to see right through you, and she's not going to tolerate your bullshit. And even if she does, and you think that you're getting over in fooling this woman, know that the only reason why she's probably with you is because, the boop boop is good. The wood is good. Because Miss Pisces loves sex, like Miss Cancer and Miss Scorpio. These are water signs. And you can deliver too, Mr. Gemini, your sexy self. But understand that can only carry you but so far. And you are brilliant, Mr. Gemini. There ain't nothing wrong with you that the Pisces woman will have any complaints or issues of. The problem is really within you, Mr. Gemini. She doesn't have to be the smartest person in the world for you to respect her. The fact that she's giving you and showering you with love and affection and sex, great sex, should make you feel like you're on top of the world. But understand that if there is a problem within these two people, it will come from Mr. Gemini, because Mr. Gemini is an intellect and he needs to be stimulated. He needs to be mentally stimulated sexually. And Miss Pisces can do that. This can work. This can be a wonderful combination. A wonderful combination. The factor here is depends on the Gemini man, how mature he is, and if he's a nice guy, a nice dude, and how strong is the Pisces woman. Because if she's a frail, vulnerable type, he'll run all over her and really, really hurt her, destroy her. Despite the fact that she has the psychic intuition to see who he is. And she falls in love with him and his, boop, boop, it'd be very hard to break from that. Because these men are a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And we're done with this segment.